I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Raised in Manchester.
Aiden just DM'd me. That's fine.
What is it?
He's laughing at me making fun of Jews.
Aiden Ross?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's up with that guy? What is he like? Is he on?
No.
I've got a video
Twitch?
coming out.
He's on Kick. He's banned on Twitch, but he'll come back soon.
So what is he on?
Kick.
Oh, okay.
It's like a steak
Do people
website.
still watch him?
Yeah, he just did a stream with Trump 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he broke the Kick record 2 weeks ago. He doesn't stream as much recently.
Most people here.
What did you say? You made a video about this, man?
I'm gonna do it. Release it tomorrow.
What is that?
Oh, we're
about?
live by the way. We're live by the way. What were you saying about Toronto?
Nothing about
Alright, guys,
Toronto.
we're live.
Nothing about Toronto.
I'm gonna make sure everything's good.
Is the food coming?
The food should be coming. Warner's always eating on these streams, huh?
You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, 100%. Aiden, how are you doing, man? How you doing, Aiden? Everyone's saying takbir? Yes, W's. Good to see everybody. We are live back with I call the stream the Dawah Avengers. I don't know what everybody thinks about this, but we have Zishan Ali. It's great to see you again. How long has it been since Ramadan?
It's crazy, isn't it? I need 5 months.
5 months. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Like yesterday.
Yeah.
One of the signs of the Day of Judgment.
Of course, we have Ali Dawah over here. Mohammed Hijab. Saw recently in Bazia, very controversial stream.
Nice to meet you. Always.
As always.
And the Warner.
Yes.
Come on.
Have no fear.
The Warner's here, eating again. And a lot of things to discuss today. Obviously, we're going to focus on Islam, but there's things politically we could speak about. The Tates just got raided during their stream. They just were arrested and now they're free. And they were live on stream and they just got raided, so we could speak a little bit about that. Catch up with everybody. And of course, we're going to be having some good food and good conversation. But it's good to be back. Thank you for hosting. Always a good host whenever we come to London. I'm glad to be here.
Zishan is a brilliant host. He's been hosting us for the past, how many years?
3 years?
5, no, more than
4
that.
years.
This guy's
host each other.
This guy's been hosting me for the past.
We host each other, Ali.
I think 5.5 years. Yeah, bro. Every single.
host each other.
Can I finish?
Shut this
Can
down.
you
Shut
shut
this
up?
down.
Let me finish, please. So you need something you have to praise the boy. So you can, So for the past 5 years, he hosts us. When it comes to food,
I don't think the mic is working,
When it comes
Ali.
to desserts,
Yeah. It's.
he looks after us.
Oh, would you
was-
look at that?
That was his mic. So you're going to do MMA fight with him. Yeah. So Zishan is a very good example of that. Talking about hosting.
Yes.
And I'm being serious, man. He's a very good host.
Are you?
Every week, every week.
I don't believe you.
No, I promise. You know when he does his videos with a couch, that famous couch. That's it in his house.
Yes.
Like this studio, nice place. Strawberry.
Mojito?
Yeah, strawberry.
What's on the
One's
mojito?
mine, yeah.
Yeah. Lychee berry.
I think this is me, yes.
Yeah.
I hope so, anyway.
Yeah.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
But we're all the way in South London, Croydon. We're in the ends.
Zen Lounge.
Is that like? Well, yeah, we just said location, but I'm sure they'll find out anyway. Warner's got his chain out.
Sparkling water.
Everyone told Warner not to wear jewelry in London, but here he is.
Oh yeah, we have
with
to
the
come.
bling bling.
Is this even permissible in Islam? Because we need to come to reputation.
Hey, bro, chill out,
Nah,
bro.
nah,
Just enjoy it.
Nah,
and
nah,
have a
nah,
nice
nah,
conversation, brother.
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
what's going on? Is it gold?
Huh?
It looks like white gold.
No, it's silver. Yeah, it's silver with diamonds.
Yeah, Ali, it's silver.
So what's the ruling?
Say mashallah, Ali.
Mashallah. I am the war now.
I don't want to get into that because, do you know, like, classically in Islamic, in the madhabs, they say, like, for example, the Hanbali madhab says the only thing that's allowed is a ring, yeah? But they'll say, like, the reasoning they'll give for something like a chain being haram is that it's imitation of women, okay? But then the question is, and this is not, I'm not answering this question, I'm just posing it, right? The question is it really imitation of women? So you have to look at something called the custom, and for each custom, there's different rules. So this is a fatwa issue. It's a fatwa issue. And I don't think there should be, I don't think there would be one answer for this.
Yeah?
Yeah, more strict people that want to go with the madhabs, they'll say, no, you only can wear a ring or a watch or something like that, that's it.
So I'm going to hold my fatwa back for today then.
We'll hold it back.
We'll hold it back for
We'll,
today.
hold it. We'll take the easier opinion.
I saw one video recently. You were with your wife, and you were saying clubbing is haram. It was a video of me
yeah.
with Brother Fuzi and the club. It's not it's not perfect, but the clubbing is not allowed whatsoever. Obviously,
Yeah, that one's I think consensus. That one.
you can't step foot.
Yeah, so you can go to a golf club.
Okay.
If that's clubbing, then yeah, that's allowed.
Yeah, revert life is it's a process, I guess. We try, but
Just take it step by step,
Yeah.
Well, not too much step by step.
Okay.
Not too much.
All the way.
No, not too much.
Like
Sometimes
we were
about
with Uthman bin Farouk today, and
Was
he
it?
was, he's of the opinion that if you're coming from a really difficult lifestyle, go cold turkey. But that's what he's seen work, and that's what he's given. Because some people, they take it too gradually, and then they end up getting lost again. But I guess it's a mix between the two, because you're also a river as well, isn't it?
It is. Some people, like you see some people, they just go straight into it. Some people, they take time. It depends on the person, really.
Yeah.
But you're being balanced. You don't want to be like, I'm taking my time, and you're committing haram. You should know yourself. If you're like, this is difficult. When I first came to Islam, very early stages, I would pray all my prayers at night at once, because I was getting used to the routine. I didn't know what was what. I didn't even know how to pray properly. So it depends, slowly. And then Fajr was a big issue for me. Then overcame that. It's a gradual process, Even when you look into the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the prohibition of alcohol, it wasn't instantaneous.
It wasn't instant, yeah.
That's why Aisha radhiyallahu anha said, if Islam was to come with stipulation of halal or haram, nobody would have really come to Islam. So it's a gradual process. And I think what's really important is what we miss is that we sometimes think going to people and saying, this is haram, bro, this is halal. They know. You don't need to really go to someone. Like if I see a brother drinking alcohol, I don't need to come and say it's haram. He knows it's haram. We do it the opposite way. If you look at the early generations, the way they've done it is they would firstly give the individual iman, in the sense where enrich his faith with God. Once you give that, he will leave the haram himself. We do it the opposite way. You just come to Islam, bro, it's haram, it's haram. Aki, let iman build. He will let go of the haram himself. But we're just very fixated, and the Muslim Ummah is very judgmental.
They are.
Very
I definitely want to talk about the haram.
Very
please.
toxic. Bro, go to any person's Instagram, they are criticizing that person for something. Just go randomly pick someone, yeah? You go to the sister, for example, there's one sister called Blonde Muslim, I think she's from America. Go to her account, go to the comment section.
Why are you going
Why
to
not
the
wear
camera?
hijab?
He likes the blondies apparently.
So the thing is, when you go, anyone,
What other sisters should go on their account?
when you go, you see the comment section, yeah? Why not wear a hijab? Why not wear a hijab? No. Go to somebody else's, yes? Okay, they pick on
Now he's
everyone for
encouraging
something.
people to go on their pages.
I do want to ask you about that. I had this conversation with you during the last few days of Ramadan about how do you balance that as a content creator? Because the reason I was in the club was Fuzi invited me to do a stream, and part of the stream was like that. At the end, we're going to celebrate and go there. He was in a mental institution for a while. He's free. He's finally like happy. Like I'll go support him and do this stuff. I don't like going to the club, but how do you balance, or how do you think that new reverts or people like me, content creators, can balance that? Because I can't do just I guess I can, but if it's I don't know if it's important, but part of streaming and part of being a content creator is you're going to be around haram life. It's inevitable.
And also keep in mind, we live in America. We're not in London surrounded by Muslims. Especially in Miami, I don't even think he has a local masjid. You know what I mean? So
That looks good. I might have to order that later on. I was going to say, bro, look, honestly, here's what I would say, The Quran states, الَّذِينَ يَجْتَنِبُونَ كَبَائِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَالْفَوَاحِشَ إِلَّا اللَّمَمْ. That the ones who leave off the major sins, except for the minor sins, which gives you an indication. It gives you an indication that the first thing you need to do is like, okay, you're starting practicing now, The first thing you want to remove is the major sins of Islam. So you have to know what the major sins are. So Islam is major sins and minor sins, So you want to look at, for example, I'll give you a reference. There's a book called Al-Kaba'ir by Al-Dhahabi, and it's in English. It's been translated. It's called The Major Sins by Al-Dhahabi. All you need to do, literally, is look at the contents page of this book. You don't even need to read the book. Just look at the contents page. You'll see a list of sins that are considered to be major sins, for example. So the first thing you'd want to do is you want to remove those, because there's no point talking about music or talking about chains or talking about anything like that, where that's either in the category of minor sins or the category of difference of opinion. That's more detailed. That's more if you really now want to try and perfect your worship and you're at a certain level. You shouldn't even be coming near that, really, unless you remove, I would say, the major sins. So major sins include things like, for example, you'd be surprised, things like being bad to your parents. And that is both your Muslim parents and your non-Muslim parents. For example. So if you've got a really bad relationship with your mum and dad, that's a major sin. There's no point talking about the permissibility of wearing a chain, for example, and you've got a horrible relationship with your mum, for instance. Another major sin would be like, for example, zina. And zina, like having intercourse, is of different levels as well. So for example, the worst level, I'm going to be explicit here, is putting your penis into a vagina or putting it into an anus. Okay, so that's what you would call the worst level. The second is, you could say, oral sex. So basically, there's a level of zina, like there's a gradation of it.
Which one's the worst?
The worst is either if you have intercourse and you're putting your penis you're putting your penis into either the vagina or into the anus. Those two areas.
Wow, this is really good.
It looks really good.
You want some?
I'll try some after.
Then number two is, let's say, oral sex, for example, or any other kind of foreplay, masturbation, this and that. Then is like lips and touching, all this kind. Then is looking. Okay, so there's
Zina of the eyes.
Yeah, zina of the eyes. So that's the lowest level. But if you're having sex, then why are we talking about zina of the eyes, for example? You need to first remove the having sex aspect. You know what I mean? If you're having, okay, what kind of sex are you having? I'm not saying it's all haram. I mean, no one's going to say anything, but there's levels.
There's levels to it.
There's levels.
Okay.
If you've been married before, if you are married or you've been married before, it's worse than if you've never been married before, for example. Do you get it? So if you're a married man and you have adultery, if you do adultery, that's worse than if you've never been married before and you have intercourse. So there's levels even with who you are in terms of zina. So that's zina, for example.
Yes, I can hear you.
You know, and so riba is another one, like we talk about interest. So these are the worst one, of course, is shirk, which we had a conversation about.
Right, I was going to say which one's worse.
The worst one is shirk. That's
Okay.
the worst of all.
That's worse than gay sex.
It's worse than everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, it's worse than everything according to all the religions.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
think of the following, right? A Christian may object and say, "How dare you?" Because it became a controversy when I said it last time.
Yeah,
if you remember, right?
Even though what you said is true.
It's absolutely, because look, think about
what
it.
did you
It's
say?
true.
Are you
not-
sure? Because
What
you
did you
told.
say?
Was it
No, I said I
Sneako?
have different feelings. I said that I would rather have a
You said you
Christian.
disagree with it, though.
I said I would rather have a Christian son than a gay son.
Yeah, that's. No, I would have 50 sons who are homosexual, then one son that's a Christian.
Muslim homosexual, you mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But he did
Yeah,
say
obviously.
Muslim. He did say
No,
Muslim.
Muslim homosexual.
No, of course. Well, I'm gonna have why would I have a Christian and he's homosexual? Then do you get what I'm trying to say? Because the act of shirk is forward. Sorry.
No, you can continue.
I mean, I know that's Islamically true, but like I would be lying.
Yeah.
No, but this is very interesting because when you come to Islam, submitting your will means that what you are ordained by God is what you're submitting your will to. Because otherwise, there are things in Islam that I would say, you know what, I don't like the sound of that, or I don't like that. Me personally, there's things that, for example, there's many people that struggle with, but submitting means that God knows what's morally what's objectively true. That's why I submit my will to that, even if it doesn't make sense to me, or I think this is worse. What Allah tells me is what I'm going to go with, because I believe that my mind is limited, and it's like your child. Like your child, if you go to say broccoli or chocolate, we'll say chocolate. But is chocolate good for them or broccoli? Broccoli. So the point is that because your child in that limited mind frame does not understand that, they will pick chocolate, but you know broccoli is good for them. So the same with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He tells us something, even though sometimes it doesn't make sense, we take, that's why I use the term taking the aql over the naql, is we take what God has commanded over our logical brain. Because
Wouldn't it be easier to convert a Christian straight son than a gay? Like, wouldn't it be easier to get rid of that sin?
the thing is, you need to understand, we say that anyone that has La ilaha illallah,
Yeah.
will enter paradise eventually. But somebody who doesn't have that, they're going to the hellfire. So if somebody has the tendencies to do homosexuality, firstly, if they have the tendency but they don't do it, they are actually, we can even say they are rewarded, because they are, it's like somebody who wants to commit adultery, but they fear God and they're not doing it. They get rewarded, because we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the one who wants to do an action, evil action but doesn't do it, will get a good deed. But so from that angle, it's better that you have someone who's not doing that. But then if they are committing the act, but they say, I know this is haram, but I'm doing it, again, it's a major sin. But somebody who says, no, homosexuality is fine, you come out the fold of Islam. If somebody comes and says to them, look, God has said this is haram. If they say, no, I believe it's halal, you become a disbeliever. Because it's halal. You're making what is halal haram, or what is haram halal. So that's why,
this point where it became controversial, like, the first thing you've got to look at is, look at the 10 Commandments in the Old Testament. Right. The first commandment is not about homosexuality. The first commandment in the Old Testament was about effectively tawheed, monotheism. Yeah. That take one God and don't take any other God.
Yeah,
that's the first commandment?
It's the first commandment, yeah. It's in Exodus chapter 20 verse 3, for example, right? So, because the commandments are not all in one place in the Bible, the Old Testament, they're scattered all.
I thought it was like, do not kill, do not steal, do not take.
The first one is
the first one is do not take any other God. except for God. And it's reiterated in Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4, the Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, which is that, oh, hear, O Israel, hear our Lord is only one Lord. So fundamentally all the prophets, they came with this one message. Okay, so Abraham, Moses, Jesus, all of them we say came with this one message, which is to believe in one God and worship one God. If that foundation is not intact, nothing else can be intact. Do you know what I mean? Not to trivialize from like for us, homosexuality is up there with the worst sins. Ibn Qayyim mentions in one of his books, Ad-Dawah, the medicine and the cure, he mentions that it's on par with murder. Actually, he says it's murder and homosexuality, and by that, by the way, he means male homosexuality, not female homosexuality.
It's not the same, by the way.
Yeah, so like
really,
because
it's not
female,
the same.
there's no penetration.
Yeah, so they do differentiate between lesbianism and male on male penetration, because as I mentioned before, like in terms of zina, the worst one is when you put the penis into the vagina or put it into the anus. Now, obviously, there's no penis in the case of the woman, and so lesbian sex, if you want to call it that. Yeah. The Sharia wouldn't consider it the highest level of sex anyway.
Because there's no
penetration.
They're just there.
It would consider it a different kind of lewdness.
And that is what zina is, the pen going into the ink. That is what is defined as zina, you know, in Islam. Not like, that's why there was a man who came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, I committed zina. And the Prophet ﷺ obviously didn't want to apply the capital punishment. He said, maybe you kissed her, which shows us that, you know, this kissing and all this other stuff, they're not seen as zina, but he was coming and saying, no, I actually committed the actual act, you know. So the actual act of the pen going in the ink is what is zina, and with a man that happens, but with a woman that's not plausible.
The reason I said I disagree.
And by the way, sorry to cut off. Yeah, you know, in Islam, let's be frank. I mean, there's two opinions on what to do with a homosexual that's been caught, and Islam has the strictest laws of any religion.
Stones, right?
Well, I mean, there's different discussion. I mean, the majority opinion is capital punishment. If they've been caught with 4 witnesses, that's the majority.
It's hard to be 4 witnesses for that act.
It's hard to be 4 witnesses for that act, but if people are doing pornography and these kind of things nowadays, it becomes easier. Obviously, that like the actual pornography thing with AI and stuff wouldn't be considered to be ironclad evidence, but nevertheless, it's a possibility that it can be done. What I'm saying is that the punishment of homosexuality in Islam is the most severe in any religion, and in fact, Islam is usually attacked as a basis of that.
Yeah,
there is one opinion that says there's no punishment, which is the Hanafi opinion. I mean, to be open about that.
Who's a Hanafi that I know? I don't know if I.
Zishan's Hanafi.
Oh.
Zishan. Majority of the Muslim world is Hanafi, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So Pakistan is Hanafi, Bangladesh is Hanafi. You know, even Turkey is Hanafi. Turkey is Hanafi. Bangladesh, India. The whole of like Muslims in India are Hanafi. It sounds like a bit of generalization, but they're the most lenient madhab on lots of issues. On lots of issues, you'll find them very lenient in capital punishment, in punishments in general.
So that explains the chain.
And the reason I said I disagree, I don't disagree with what you said. What you said is true. I just disagree with. I don't like to alienate the Christians because my stream is like.
Yeah, we don't want to alienate Christians.
No, you shouldn't.
I have so many that watch, and I think it's more effective that they find some sort of religion rather than.
But here's the thing: we agree with the Christians on this issue. This is what I find hypocritical about the issue.
Is that they get so angry, but they have the same belief.
Here's what I'm saying to you: look, you go and ask a Christian that is either Protestant, Orthodox, or Catholic. Ask them the following: what is worse, a Muslim who does not believe in the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, or a Christian who's a homosexual but he believes in the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ? If he's honest with his belief, he'll say what is worse is the Muslim.
Yeah,
that is the official belief of the Orthodox Church, of the Catholic Church, and the Protestant.
But not of the average Christian. What I come to find out after what you said is that the average Christian does not really know what the Orthodox or the Catholic Church says.
But the majority of them will have been told that if you believe in the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus, then He's taken your sins. It's called
Jesus saves.
Jesus saves. This is like fundamental belief, sola fide. It's called sola fide, which means justification through faith alone in Latin. So they've got two. There's sola scriptura. You have to believe in the scriptures, but they also have sola fide. So this is actually a shared belief among Christians and Muslims. So I find it like, why is there an outrage when we both believe in the same thing?
Well, because a lot of them don't know. I spoke to this one Christian about it afterwards. His name's Young Don. He's the one, he had a debate with Sheikh Uthman, and he rejected the Trinity, and then he's back to the Trinity. And he was saying that you can't be a homosexual and be a Christian. And I asked him, like, this is the first time I heard that. Then he also said that you can't be an alcoholic and be a Christian. But that's just not true. Because everybody sins. And that's what he was basically his rhetoric.
What's the point of Jesus? Jesus, according to their narrative, is that he came to take your sin.
Right.
He had no sin.
He died for your sins.
So, what? Yeah, so do you know what I mean? What sin is he taking? What sin is he dying for? So it's all those sins.
Right.
If you go and ask anybody, any priest from any denomination, you know, a homosexual who repents, a homosexual who believes Jesus died for his sins, what do you say? He's a Christian homosexual. Is this person, does he have more salvific potential, or does a Muslim have more salvific potential? He will say, no doubt about it. Yeah. If you're a Christian believer, you have more salvific potential. In fact, the Muslim, he's not going to go to heaven, according to this belief.
But it depends. Catholics, a lot of the Catholic priests, they say that actually Muslims will go to heaven.
They do?
Yeah. A lot of them, the priests, a lot of them come out. They've actually said they believe that.
Reformists, but
yeah, they have.
Traditionally, well, Catholics are the most staunch on this. Let me explain why. Augustine was a figure in the 4th century. Whom obviously Catholics accept, a lot of the Christians accept him. He used to believe that if your baby is not baptized and it dies, you go to hell.
That's interesting. You know what? Just touching on that, there was an Italian girl I spoke to in Speaker's Corner. Their friends, her family don't believe in God, but they went and got baptized. So they were like, just in case we don't want you to go.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Well, this was the official
Just
position of
in
the
case.
Vatican.
Insurance policy.
Yeah.
This was
just
the
in case they
official
don't make it
position
home tonight.
of the Vatican until fairly recently. That if you've got a baby who dies and it's not been baptized, they go to hell.
The Vatican just adopted this?
No, they had. That was the official position for millennia.
Oh, they got rid of it now.
They got rid of it now. I saw some recent things that they've said that was opposing that.
Okay.
But then the question would be, how can something which is of a theological nature change? It's part of the problem with Christianity. You'll find theological things. It's not just legal things, but theological things are changing. You'll see that they're changing their opinions on certain things, like who's going to heaven and who's going to hell. So what a baby that died 2,000 years ago, or let's say 1,500 years ago, he's going to hell. But a baby that dies now, because the Pope has changed his mind, for example, or the magisterium has changed its mind, that's going to go to heaven, for example. It's a ridiculousness.
Zishan, I'm curious to see, what do you think about that rhetoric? Because my whole idea with the love speech community is to be inclusive towards people. I don't like to force Islam on people. So I don't say things like that would divide people.
I think you have to draw some line in the sand, isn't it? Otherwise, if you're too vague, it's like you trying to be in two boats at once. Eventually you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to be in neither boat.
Right.
So there's certain principles that you have to stay
staunch on.
Yeah. And certain things, of course, like the Quran tells us, come to common terms between us and you. That, speaking to the Christians or the people of the book, that we believe none but Allah. So stuff like Tawheed, that sort of stuff, of course, it's set in stone, isn't it? Like our belief in one God, we're not going to change that. But when it comes to other things, for example, our stances in which we are together, of course, that's good. Like, for example, when you talk about LGBT, when you talk about abortion and stuff like that, there's a lot of things that we are together in.
Especially Zionism. I see that as the biggest issue. Being anti-Zionist is like, I'd rather unite on those issues rather than speak upon our differences and divide people.
And that's why, to be honest, like even with the discussion earlier, like there's a reason I didn't get involved in that, because I'm actually with you on this. I don't think it's helpful using certain divisive language when it comes to Muslims and Christians, when on the macro level there are already forces that are set to divide us. So using rhetoric or words that can be misconstrued into us versus them, we're just let's call a spade. We're making it easier for the Zionists, who are set to divide us. So I would just cut it from the root. I wouldn't use divisive language like that. I would say, look, there are differences and we can organize debates and stuff like this, but when it comes to this, at the moment, what's happening, we have to set our differences to the side, or we have to agree to disagree.
Right.
Agree to disagree. Not agree that, look, we have to change and we don't. No, agree to disagree and look at all of these commonalities and we unite on that commonality to go forward.
I'm curious what you think about the unification between Christianity and politics. Because when it comes to the UK riots and American election, you come to realize that, especially with everything happening on the far right, Christianity is really intertwined with Western politics. And I have to admit, it's effective to have those people on your side, to have the Christians agree with you on most subjects because we do agree upon most things when you see what they're trying to do. Do you think that it's worthwhile? Mohammed Hijab disagrees. On our last stream, he's like, forget about Trump, forget about this. All I care about is Islam. But I'm politically involved. So, do you think that's haram? Should I try to? Is it worthwhile uniting?
Look,
or using,
it's because of the nature of the discussion last time. It was to do with belief and disbelief, isn't it? So in that regard, obviously he's going to take the stance of belief. I'm sure if you put it in terms of a macro strategy, there is always going to be a similarity or a allegiance between Orthodox Islam and Orthodox Christianity or even Orthodox Judaism, which is vastly being watered down, and mics are taken from them. In fact, they're against Zionism. A lot of them are being treated like crap by the IDF. I wouldn't say a lot of them, but a pocket of them. So of course, in order to go forward, there needs to be this, okay, let's agree to disagree. And when it comes to, to put it very succinctly, with the people that you can have this unification with, yes, have it on issues. And there are many issues that we're together with. On issues that we can't, like shirk and belief and Trinity and atonement and stuff like that, obviously we can't agree on that. So yes, there is a way for us to
with Trump, the issue is that he's as much a Zionist as Joe Biden.
He really is, if not more. The stuff that he's been coming out and saying, it's almost impossible to support him now.
Do you know what I mean? So this is the issue. If he was a person who had it's not about his religion. I don't even know if he is a Christian.
He claims he is.
If he's a Christian, he is not an issue of Christianity or not. Like for example, we had at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had the Najashi, who was a Christian Ethiopian king, and who the Prophet told his companions to go and seek refuge from. So this issue of, we have to differentiate between theological belief, afterlife, and also what you can do in this world. I'm all for Muslims and Christians coming together on issues. But it depends on which kind of Christians. Like for example, with Trump, the issue with him is not necessarily his Christianity. I haven't got an issue with that. It's his Zionism. Because for me, it's very difficult to do. If you look at his track record, because the point you were making before is about, he just has to play this game, right? But if you look at his actual track record, right? And I can mention this again, but he stopped the ICC from taking a case from the Palestinian Authority, and what he done is he defunded. He stopped the ICC from doing their job. He made Jerusalem the capital of Israel at the time. So these are just these two examples by themselves, because if you look at what happened with the ICC, is that there were 50 people or something like that were killed. This was way before October the 7th.
What is the ICC?
It's the International Criminal Court. Yeah, so what happened was is that you had the Israelis, they came and shot down some people that, Palestinians in Gaza were doing protests. They were doing unarmed protests. There was not a...
Was this in 2018?
I think 2018, 19. Do you remember?
Yeah, we need to unpack that.
So what happened was that you had 250 people die, and the Israeli soldiers were shooting them. A lot of them were cripples, handicapped, all this kind of thing. Amnesty International has all these reports on them, you have independent organizations doing reports on it. So
just to add in, the UN did a 2019 report. It's a 250-page report, single-spaced, and they say that the Palestinians were unarmed. They were in a festive mood, and the report says, in quotations, the Israelis lined up their snipers, and they intentionally targeted children. Intentionally targeted journalists, intentionally targeted medics, and intentionally targeted disabled people.
Is this 2018 or 2019 happened?
It happened in 2018, but the report was published in 2019.
Right,
So when people say, "Oh, look, we need to have a peaceful thing,"
what happened with this then is that the Palestinian Authority took this as a case to the International Criminal Court. Trump at the time, he's the one who was in charge when. Basically, he stopped the ICC from going further. I think he blackmailed them essentially. And so what happened with that is that the PA, the Palestinian Authority, couldn't advance their case. So clearly he was working in the interest of the Israelis. So this is probably one of the best examples of Trump supporting Zionism. it's not just something. It's not lip service. It's actual support.
Yeah, there's that, but just so for your knowledge, Christians are like the Ahlul Kitab are close to us. There's many examples. Like without sugarcoating, I'll be very honest with you, because I don't like sugarcoating. I'll be very honest with you. I'll give you examples where you'll be like, for example, in the Battle of Badr. At the same time, the Romans were fighting the Persians. Yes, some of the Mufassirin say that when the Romans, because Persians defeated the Romans, and then Allah obviously this is a prophecy in Surah Rum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Romans have been defeated and they will come back and win. So some of them say that when the Muslims were celebrating, they were not just celebrating the win they did against the idol worshippers, but they were also celebrating the victory that the Christians caused the Persians, because the Persians are known as idolaters. So the Christians winning, the Roman Empire winning over them, was celebrated by the Muslims, by the Prophet and the Sahaba. They were happy that Ahlul Kitab, the people of the book, won over the polytheists. So that shows that we are even happy to their victory against idol worshippers. If you understood,
Well, when the Quran talks about the Christians, who is it talking? Is it talking about these Jesus worshipping Christians? Like, what Christians are they talking about?
We can eat from their. We can eat from their food. What do you think? What do you?
But isn't there another verse of the Quran that says that those who take Jesus as God do not believe in God?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? Surah Baqarah.
But still, the thing is though, you're talking something very specific. Generally, we can eat from their meat. We can. We can marry them. So the thing is, it's. I mean, I don't know what they say over their meat, but the point
exactly.
is,
if you can marry a Christian, and you're a Muslim, so clearly there's a level of unity that's allowed. You know what I'm trying to say?
Do we consider Christians idol worshippers?
Polytheists. Yeah.
Well, so what happened to that battle?
But the thing is this though.
That battle.
But they're known as Ahlul Kitab because the thing is
they have a different distinction.
Look, they believe in the angels, they believe in the prophets, they believe in the books, they believe in their judgment, and they do believe in God. The polytheists, they don't have this. They don't have this belief system of the hereafter. That's when in the Quran they would say, after we have died, God is going to put us back together. They mock this. So the Ahlul Kitab, the reason why they're close is because they have belief systems that are very close to us. So even though they are polytheists, but Allah's given them a specific exception in this case. Why? Because they can pay jizya and live in the lands of the Muslims. And I know there's some Mufassirin that say that also some polytheists can do that as well. But the Jews and the Christians, they can pay jizya and have security over the Muslims. And some polytheists, they don't have that. With some rulings on polytheists, basically you either accept Islam or it's war.
So you have
many cases.
You have a category of polytheists.
Yes.
Okay, within it is Christianity, Christians, who obviously believe them to be polytheists. The Quran says it itself, right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ الْمُشْرِكِينَ فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ. That certainly the ones who, disbelieve from the Ahl Kitab and the polytheists are going to be in hellfire. I mean, all of them are the same in that sense. But you've got, like, let's say, an overarching category of polytheism. Christianity is within that.
Yeah.
But it has a special status in Islam because it has books which still have remnants of truth inside of it.
So it's like the levels of zina, how there's worse zina, there's levels of idol worship.
Like
Christianity is the least.
Say that. Like if you commit zina with your neighbor, it's not the same as. And for example, an old man committing zina, is it the same with a young man?
No. Okay.
That's what Prophet Sallam.
So Christianity is the least worst form of idol worship, polytheism.
It is, but
as a religion, it has remnants of truth. So, for example, you have mention of the prophets. They have Jesus, Abraham, Moses. They believe in that, which gives them a special status in Islam.
Yeah. And another thing to bear in mind as well, some Christians might be watching and they use this as an argument by saying, "Oh, what if we were living under you? How would you treat us?" Well, if we answer that head on and directly, the Prophet actually answered this directly. He said that with the people, non-Muslims that are living under Muslim leadership, dhimmis, that are living under Muslim rule, if you harm them, you harm me. This is the Prophet saying this. Like, we don't even tolerate images being drawn of the Prophet. But the Prophet is saying, you harm them, you have harmed me. And if you harm me, you have harmed God. And in another narration, it says that if you take the rights of the non-Muslims living under you, the Prophet will advocate in their favor on the Day of Judgment, i.e. against the Muslim that's taken their rights. And the list goes on and on. If you were to kill a non-Muslim, that's living again under Muslim lands, the punishment of that Muslim is to be put to death.
Is there an example of a Muslim nation like that with Christians and Jews?
It's an opinion of one madhab.
But is there an example in modern times of this happening?
What?
Of a nation with...
The example, we can take the example at the time of Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Yeah, he was one of the early caliphs, yeah, the leaders in Islam. And at his time, a Muslim killed a non-Muslim, and then his family was asked, what do you want to happen to him? And they said, we want him to be put to death. And he was put to death. At the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, again a Muslim killed a non-Muslim, and Ali radiallahu anhu asked, what do you want to happen to him? And they said, you know what,
But the vast majority don't believe that. They believe that a Muslim will not put to death for a disbeliever. There's a hadith to that effect as well.
Yeah, but there's hadith. But what I'm saying is that there's hadith.
I think there is an opinion as well.
Yeah, there are opinions, and these have happened at the time of Sahaba, like happened at the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, had happened at the time of Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Even in the Maliki fiqh books as well, that this is actually in the Maliki madhab, and in the Hanbali kitab actually says that if a non-Muslim is imprisoned, the Muslims are expected to utilize anything that's in their power to free that non-Muslim under their control.
Yeah,
I can give you the references for that.
Yeah. There is cases and opinions, but generally, overwhelmingly, a Muslim life, if a Muslim kills a non-Muslim, there's generally it's not an eye for an eye.
So how politically involved should the modern Muslim be? Right, we should all obviously care about Palestine. We should reject Zionism, these things. But for like the Western Muslim, like someone like me, is it even worthwhile trying to support somebody like Trump when there's so many conflicts of interest?
The thing is that when it comes to any options that you're given, like they say, the right wing and the left wing, they're both wings of the same bird. Yeah, so that summarizes politics.
Right.
It's the illusion of choice.
Yeah.
Even here in the UK. Be involved in politics and look at the system and look at how badly we're being screwed, but ultimately the issue's not gonna the solution's not gonna lie in this currently flawed system. Yes, there are certain people that are trying to make it work within the system, but in terms of the political peak of Islam, that was the caliphate.
Right.
Yeah, when we established the caliphate, we had our own rulership and leadership.
Right.
And today, again, we're trying to kind of find our feet yet again. In the last 200 years, obviously Muslim nations have been seriously subjugated, and we're still trying to find our feet. Like, are we more aligned with the right? Are we more aligned with the left? The reality is we're,
neither, right?
Yeah, that's the reality.
Yeah.
And we take, obviously, the good, but the ultimate, it's supposed to be, getting leadership for our Muslim nations independent of this.
The left wing has been more vocal on the anti-Zionist stuff than the right. If we're being totally honest about it. Like, with the people that we've been seeing on the streets in protests in London have mostly been left-wingers, actually, on the Palestine issue. I don't know, have you noticed that as well? Or?
Yeah, definitely.
You see gay pride flags at Palestine protests. Yeah. Trans for Palestine.
But on that issue, we agree with them.
On LGBT, the right wing is very good. Much better, of course, than the left wing. So there's definitely pros and cons. I mean, some people are asked, where would you want your family to live? Like with right-wing folk or left-wing folk. But again, how would you survive in a right-wing area with all these Trump flags and these rednecks and all these people that are obviously after your blood? And on the left, when you're afraid to even bend over without, things going wrong.
I prefer the right over the left, because the right wants to just kill you. At least you can die as a Muslim. The left wants your soul. They want you to leave Islam. So to me, the left is more dangerous than the right. The right just wants you. I want you to kill you. Okay, kill me as a Muslim. Thank you very much. I'll go heaven.
I think you're right. I think the left is more
dangerous because the left wants your soul.
Micro kind of like influences.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't give a what's the most you're going to do to me?
And it's the way they're more influential. Like, if we had to ask the question, what is more influential?
Yeah, and they want to ally with
on the Muslim community, in a negative sense, that brings them away from the religion of Islam. I would hands down it's the left wing. Hands down it's the left wing, because a lot of the ideologies that we're seeing is usually promulgated and surrogated by the left. For example, feminism. Feminism is a great example. Liberalism, another example. Communism, socialism, all these isms.
Yeah.
It's more convincing coming from a person who considers you to be a friend. Like, the way the left wing comes is he'll come in as a friend.
Yeah.
He'll come in with a very approachable tone. The right winger, like look at Trump, look at his rhetoric. It's intended to alienate you. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, he said he was going to deport jihadists, and he was like, "This is a speech from a week ago."
Oh, he's going to deport me.
He said he's going to deport jihadists and he's going to deport Hamas supporters in the U.S. Like, what Hamas people? He's acting like he's speaking as if there's Hamas in the U.S. This stuff doesn't make sense.
He's just using Israeli talking points.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Scare tactics to demonize Islam.
They're using the term Hamas is used to talk about the average Muslim.
Yeah.
To be honest, or the average pro-Palestine supporter.
Yeah.
By that they mean Hamas.
Sneako, who do you think tried to kill Trump?
That's a good question.
Sneako looks like he knows something.
No, he's if anything, he'd probably be supporting Trump.
I mean, I did vote for Trump in 2016, and
Yeah.
I do love a lot of the stuff he says.
Yeah.
I think he started ramping up a lot of the Israel talking points after that failed assassination attempt. He ramped it up times 10.
Yeah.
Before then, he wouldn't speak about it. He said like there was a couple snippets where he was talking about peace, and he didn't sound that favorable of Netanyahu. After the assassination attempt, Israel flags everywhere. Netanyahu comes to Mar-a-Lago, deport jihadists.
Complete U-turn.
He's on Truth Socials every day. He's talking about how he's the biggest Israel supporter, the biggest Israel supporter. Just today, he posted again about how he's the best. He's the best ally for the Jews.
So you're saying Mossad did it?
But I'm surprised because if Mossad did it,
No.
why wouldn't he go anti? It seems like, or maybe he's more scared for his
If
life.
somebody comes for your family, do you become more anti, or you really be careful what you say?
Malcolm X, for example, when they came for him, he just started going.
He's a top G, that's why.
He started going harder. He didn't revert back to where he was.
Sneako, what about Bassem Youssef? Bassem Youssef has disappeared from X.
But what's going on with that?
Recently he's put out a message saying that until the safety of my family is guaranteed, I'm not coming back to X.
What's going on with
and
that,
some
man?
say that his family is in the West Bank and they are compromised. So he just disappeared of X, and some people were wondering.
Well,
Did he deactivate his account?
He deactivated.
Yeah, because some people said that he was canceled. I think he deactivated it, so he must have got threats.
But this is the reason that he gave, because he's still on Instagram and on the other platforms.
Lucky
But he
guy.
said, until I can guarantee the safety of my family.
So he didn't change his rhetoric. He's just saying like my life is being
He
threatened.
hasn't said anything.
His family.
He just went
Said
silent,
it was my family.
especially on X, which, let's face it, is the most
The biggest
free.
platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but the Tates finally said Israel controls the Matrix. 2 days later, they get arrested for the same case that's been ongoing for many years.
I don't understand about our brother Andrew Tate. He's talking about the anti-matrix, and then he's pushing people like this flipping scumbag Tel Aviv Tommy.
I think he retracted that.
He is the matrix. This guy is. He's not even.
Zionist.
Bro, he would get. He should be.
He's open
He
Zionist.
should be hanged for treason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one going against his own government by getting funded by an external government, causing riots in the UK. This guy, this is what he called treason. You know, there's one guy who came to the park. He actually said, "I was." So that is the matrix. But Andrew Tate's pushing.
It's because he's old friends with this guy, but I think
don't
he
care if he's
disagrees
our
with
friend,
him.
bro. Look, the thing is, our loyalty is very, very important when it comes to Islam. My loyalty is with
Islam.
Look, it's very simple. Yeah, my true family is here.
Alhamdulillah.
Very brutal. Let me be no, and I'm not saying it. Just, look, bro. When the Battle of Badr happened, there were Sahaba who were fighting their family members. Their father was on the other side. Their brother was on the other side, bro. They were fighting their family members. Why? We even know in the story of Nuh alayhi salam. When Nuh alayhi salam made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He saves him and his family, when he went on the ship and his son was not there and he got drowned, he said, "Oh Allah, you promised me that you're going to save my family." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebuked Nuh alayhi salam and said, "Your family is who? No one but the believers." The believers, look, when excuse my language, when crap hits the fan, it's the believers that's going to be there, bro. Because there are family members that we all have that are disbelievers. Believe me, I have family members who are disbelievers, yeah? And some of the rhetoric they come out with, bro, I'm just like, wow. It just increases me in my faith, because I'm like, if things pop off, you're going to be on the other side. I can see it now. You're going to be there, bro. I'm going to be fighting you. So, to us, it's very important that our loyalty is with Allah and His Messenger and the believers. That is my allies, bro. I don't know anyone else of my allies. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to be compassionate to my family members who are... No, of course not. But bro, let me tell you something. Whoever it is, what Allah and His Messenger said is the haqq. It might sound weird to me. My own family, or my dad, or my brother, I guess, nah, bro, trust me.
Well, Tate's a new Muslim. Like he does a lot of this stuff he's not used to.
He is, but the thing is this, bro. I know it's his brother. I know to him family comes first, etc. His brother, look, I've got nothing against him. He's a Christian. But bro, if you don't pick your side, and when I mean side, I'm not telling him to turn against his brother. But this thing of, maybe like, compromising on your religion, certain stuff, I'm going to go praise Jesus and this, that. It's bro, your loyalty is very clear, yeah? If you have a brother that's a Christian, all well and good, the Ahlul Kitab will close to them many things. But when it comes to certain things, I can't do that. Not, oh, he's my brother. and I'm going to compromise and go praise Jesus, or not that I'm saying there was some rumors. I don't know how true it is, so I don't want to get into speculations.
I don't think he knew. I think when he said, I'm going to go praise Jesus, he's like, oh, Jesus is a prophet, so I'm going to show respect.
He said Lord Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, he grew up from a Christian background, so he's used to that terminology. I make that mistake too sometimes. Sometimes I curse, I say, Jesus Christ. Like, there's no fundamentals in Islam.
I used to do that when I came to Islam. I had that, the blue eye, the Turkish eye.
Yeah.
But I used to do stuff like this.
The jaw eye.
Yeah, I used to do that. But
knock on wood, stuff like that.
Yeah,
like, you're used to old habits.
It took me about a year to get out of that. I'll be honest.
It's been about a year for Andrew.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Who do you think tried
I think on the whole, though, I think there's hope for Andrew Tate. Like, there are certain brothers that they're saying that when it comes to Andrew, he's not around strong brothers, he's not around a good crowd, and because of that, he kind of alternates.
Brother.
I'm sure, hopefully, we do have hope in him, but the thing is that I think Andrew's decisions have made a big impact here in the UK. Like, he was one of the 4 biggest channels whose tweet just went viral. In fact, what's his name? Nigel Farage quoted him as well, threw him under the bus, saying that, I got it from Andrew Tate. And which is ironically what Hijab said as well, because Hijab made this point that the far right, they will drop you. They will drop you when you don't suit their agenda. And that's exactly what we're seeing, and I think Tate's going to learn this the hard way. Because he has done videos with Katie Hopkins, Tommy Robinson, and these guys that now they're relevant post October the 7th. But as that dies down, they're going to be back to being irrelevant again. Mm-hmm. And then Tate needs to realize that, you know what, this is something that is not only in this world, but it continues in the hereafter as well. Yeah, so it continues in the hereafter. Yeah. And that's the thing, sometimes we think that everything is just this world. And you asked this question at the beginning as well, that look, I go to the club and certain people bring me in, and I know it's difficult, and that was actually a really good question, but the thing is, bro, you have to ask yourself that Allah forbid if something was to happen to you right now, right now, if you just dropped right now, just people around them, what's going on, let's call the ambulance, this, that. After you're buried, bro, people would be eating RIP in the chats, and people would be talking about you, liking, posts, and he said this to me last time. Was it Mossad? The last tweet was about this, or was it these guys that got?
And then you're dead,
bro. You're gonna be in the grave alone. You're gonna stay there alone. You're gonna be raised alone, bro. You're gonna be walking on that bridge alone.
Brother, he was born
You're
alone.
going to be by yourself, and that's the bottom line. On the day of judgment, your kids, inshallah, when you get them, your wife, inshallah, your family won't want to know you. And it's that we're supposed to work towards. Death, that can come at any time. We're deluded in thinking that we've still got 20, 30 years left. Bro, it can happen now. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen the day after. This is for you. And bro, mashallah, Allahumma barak, I'm not just praising you to your face. Yeah. You're a really good content creator. You don't need to go into no crappy club.
It wasn't even my stream. It was Fuzi. I'm not blaming him, but he's a good friend of mine. He's a good brother.
But you can speak to him on a level. Say, bro, you're Muslim, and you know what? Can we do another? I want to celebrate with you. Why don't we do something outside, like at this location? I want to celebrate with you. I just don't want to do it in the club, bro. That would be dawah for him as well. Because he's a Muslim, he is probably one of the few that will understand your sentiment.
Thank you, brother.
And you'll probably affect him as well. So many brothers that, mashallah, you've affected. So it's this strength, bro. It's this strength that if you continue it on, you're going to be the means of other people being guided as well. And bro, trust me, bro, no alcohol on this table. And even in the other streams that you've had with these brothers, no alcohol, no drugs, and they've been high like,
Can I tell you a funny story? We were just in Croatia, and we were walking on a boat. I was with the Warner, and there was a Moroccan guy sitting on a bench, and some people are coming up taking pictures. And he's like, "Oh, I saw you guys. You did the Ramadan streams with Muhammad Ajad, Zishan Ali, and Ali Dawah." We're like, "Yeah." I go up to him like, "Yeah, we did. Did you?" It's like, "You were drinking something," because we were laughing so much. Muhammad Ajad and his laugh. He's like, "You must have been smoking." Like, "No, we don't smoke. What are you talking about? It's Ramadan." I was like, "It's not good to represent Islam like that during Ramadan. You were passing something under the table. I'm from Manchester. I know." It's like THC drinks passing under the table. So that stream, according to him, we were like passing weed drinks and getting drunk. That's why we were laughing and having fun. A lot of people can't comprehend.
No, they can't.
That we could sit down, have conversation, and laugh without being under the influence of drugs.
Natural high, bro, and this natural high comes from Islam. It comes from believing in the Most High. You believe in Him, bro. There's a saying: perfect your relationship with Allah, He will perfect your relationship with the people. I promise you this, bro. I will lay my life on the line for this quote, bro. And try this.
Yeah.
Perfect your relationship with Allah. Take bits to the side. Take some time alone. Pray to God. Make supplication. Anything that you're struggling with, bro, raise your hand. Speak to Him. Have this one-on-one with Him. Sacrifice for His sake. And I promise you, the next time we meet, you're going to give me examples that, bro, it's funny you said this last time, because I gave this up, I got this in return. I gave this up, I got this in return. Because, bro, this is how it works.
Yeah.
When you give up things for the sake of Allah, Allah gives you this
rewards you
world,
with something greater.
and the hereafter as well. And this is what the natural high is. For them, bro, they go to the pubs and the clubs, and the only way they can tolerate each other is by having flipping a pint this big, having all these multiple shots, you know, snorting stuff.
Yeah.
But what sort of friendship is this? It's not. It's just not a cheap friendship.
Imagine
that you need to be drugged just so you can sit in someone's
Can
company.
you imagine hijab? Can you imagine hijab being drunk?
Oh my
Just
god.
imagine.
Last stream I thought he was.
Imagine without alcohol. Imagine if he's drunk.
Well, I hallucinated one time. Did I tell you that?
No, I didn't hear this.
Oh, you didn't hear this?
I was taking morphine and I had that, bro. I hallucinated, and I can't, tell you the whole story. But
Did you have Luciferian thoughts?
well, I had Lucifer. I'm telling you, I was taking morphine.
Yeah.
Because I had like pulmonary embolism, so it was painful, and it was like a concoction of different drugs and stuff like that. At one point, I don't know what happened, but I started like vomiting all over the place. Sorry to say, you're eating and stuff, but hallucinating and stuff like that. Well, I went into this. This is probably what they do when they take these trips or whatever. You know what I mean? They go into these like trips or something. Bro, it was like, on YouTube when you put 0.5.
Yeah.
I felt like everything was so slow, and then it felt like I was going in and out of existence. And at the time, my wife was videoing it. I had the video, bro, but I was wearing like underwear. Yeah.
Were you in the hospital or you at home?
No, this bit here was I was at home, and I was like talking, like a roadman, like a proper roadman. With the thing, with the underwear, and I started like talking this and that.
I'm sure she didn't take you seriously.
Woke up. I woke up and I saw paramedic. I was in the hospital basically. It was that bad. I saw a police officer as well. And
Is this real?
I swear to God.
And then what happened?
Basically,
No, come on! How are you gonna? Come on,
I'm gonna do a Whoopi Goldberg.
I can't go
Whoopi Goldberg, bro.
I told you the story, but I don't think I should go further.
Yeah.
You know the story.
Wait, he was under the influence.
One second, are we
I was
open to
under-
Q&A? There's
I was
some people
under
on my
the-
live want to ask some questions, or you don't want to take questions.
Can we in a bit?
Okay.
There's a couple more things I want to ask.
Okay, a couple of minutes. I want to ask, guys, we are going to do the Q&A, inshallah. Also, guys, there's a donation link there for the dawah table. You can donate. We'd highly appreciate it.
Inshallah,
please.
Donate,
Sneako,
yeah?
tell him to donate. Of course, with the dawah table.
What's going in your pocket?
None of it. I'm a trustee. I don't get a single penny. Alhamdulillah. It's going to the dawah table. We've got dawah table Leicester Square.
Yes, sir.
Speakers corner, inshallah. The brothers, the team, inshallah. Not a single penny is going to my pocket, alhamdulillah. So, guys, if you want, please donate. We really appreciate it. Sneako, do you want to tell them to donate, please?
Of course. Do as Ali Dawah says.
Nah. Okay, so ask them a couple of questions, and then we'll ask. There's some questions they want to ask us. We'll get to that. But inshallah, let's carry on.
Okay.
For your streams now, you said they're going to move from Rumble. You're going to try other streaming platforms.
We'll see.
As well, isn't it?
We'll see. I don't know how much I can have these conversations on other platforms. That's why I know Islam doesn't agree with free speech, but having some
To an
level-
extent,
to
but-
an extent, yeah.
So, I mean, neither does this society either.
Right. There's no society that actually has free speech.
Absolute free speech.
It doesn't exist. Free speech absolutism is a myth.
Exactly.
You guys are right about that. But Rumble does allow a lot of conversations politically that I can't have on other platforms. I don't think I can talk about what we've been saying so far and be comfortable that I'm not going to get banned on other places. Mm-hmm. But while we're on the subject, what has the UK riots been like? We're here in London. Everyone told me not to come. I was just with, you mentioned Zerka earlier, I was just with an Albanian, so don't go to UK, they're going to stab you, all this stuff. No. But it's fine. We're driving all around today. We've been all over London.
Bro.
Nothing. I haven't seen anything.
London especially, compared to the other cities, has been fine. Yeah, because London's very cosmopolitan. And even when it comes to, I think it was initially in the first couple of days that the far right actually had a presence.
Yeah, man.
But then thereafter, I think the counter protests were vast outnumbering the far right. And because of that, bro, they just dwindled and their effectiveness wore out. It actually became a joke, a parody. So it was only the first day or so that they actually surprised people, and I don't think even the police were prepared. Thereafter, they started posting it everywhere. Bro, there were people traveling from south all the way to north. Bro, these people can't contend when it comes to on the street, hand-to-hand combat.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Let's be frank.
That's why I was on the streets.
What do you think? What do you think the goal is with Islam in the UK? Is it a caliphate?
I think people are ridiculous. But we're 5% of the population, man.
Only 5?
Yeah, what are we, like 7%? Something like that?
No, we're lucky.
like that,
Yeah, 7%.
London has got to be at least 20.
13, 14% according to the census.
Really?
Yeah. But like Birmingham is like 20%. Bradford is about 39%. That's the most, I think.
It's fear tactics, man, bro.
Like, we're 5 million. We're 5 million
Bro,
out of 70 million.
Let me tell you something.
Out of
Yeah,
70?
Yeah.
Bro, they say
It only
Muslims
looks a
are
lot.
taking over.
It only looks a lot because you come to cities with a lot of Muslims. So if you come to Birmingham, if you come to London, if you come to Manchester, if you go to Birmingham, Bradford, there's a lot of Muslims in those places. It's like anything between 10 to 40%. But the rest of the country, like if you go to the rest of the country, like it's not like that. The rest of the country is majority white, bro. Vast majority. Look at the census.
Yeah.
What you got to do is look at the 2021 census. This is a fear tactic that has been put by the far right to make it look like Muslims are taking over the country. It's
Bro,
not like that,
how are we taking over though? What, with halal food we're taking over?
Yeah.
What, because we put halal behind the King's Meal or Warburton bread, we're taking over with bread rolls,
Idiot.
or we're putting up lights in Ramadan.
6.5%.
Let's be honest.
in the UK.
Let's be honest, like how are Muslims actually taking over? Okay, the London mayor is Muslim, but he goes to these LGBT marches. Like, what is he actually doing? But then on the flip side, let's look at Israel and what they're doing with the UK. Oracle is a company that looks after the data for the Home Office,
Preach, brother.
for Ministry of Defence, and for the NHS. Yeah, Oracle looks after that. Who owns Oracle?
Probably.
Somebody called Larry Ellison, who's chums with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Okay.
In fact, to such a degree that he gave directorship. He offered directorship to Benjamin Netanyahu. And now this is how close they are.
Yeah.
If that's not it, he's the biggest funder to the Friends of the IDF. This is Oracle, bro. Then if you look at Celebrite, you know when police stop you and they hack your phone,
Yeah.
they use a software called Celebrite. And Celebrite is owned by an Israeli intelligence company.
So they have all my data?
Well, if the police hack your phone, they're using Celebrite, and here's the thing. It's headed by Unit 8200, which again is Israeli intelligence, but the owner, and said in a newspaper, Israeli newspaper, y.net, is we have remote control access to this data.
Really?
So they run your country.
Remote control access.
So they run your country. Zionists are running your country.
If that's not it, then you've got nice systems. Yeah, nice systems control the data for the Foreign Office and control the data. Police use this in their investigations as well. And nice, they're owned by a subsidiary of Elbit Systems, and Elbit Systems is the biggest Israeli arms manufacturing company. If that's not it, BT, who's responsible, for
British
our
Telecom.
British Telecom. It's called British Telecom,
Really, bro?
and it's owned by a French Israeli called Patrick Drahi. And Patrick Drahi, Allahu Akbar. Patrick Drahi, if you look at he owns the Israeli channel I-24.
Does it?
And I-24 were the first perpetrators of the 40 beheaded babies.
Oh.
The I-24. They were the first ones that started this whole thing.
I told you,
And
don't
they
mess with
are,
Isha.
I-24 was made...
Sounds like Lokina.
Yeah, well, I got it from him.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I-24 actually came, and they were made by a offshoot of Haaretz, the famous newspaper, to be close with the Netanyahu family. And of course, Patrick Drahi supports organizations that are building on settlements as well. So when you want to talk about who's actually running and dealing with the data,
Zionists.
And look, Labour, friends of Israel.
Yeah.
Conservative, friends of Israel.
Yeah.
Well, where's the Muslims,
Well,
friends of Israel?
And also, I think there's another thing that's been perpetuated.